Hello guys, assalamu alaikum and namaste. Welcome back to the channel. So guys, in this lecture we are going to discuss about the minerals and its classification. As in the previous lectures we have discussed about the mineral concept, mining scope of the mining and terminology, so on. So in this lecture we will discuss about the mineral, some introduction of the mineral, and the classification, means on which basis the minerals are classified. First of all, mineral. What is the mineral? Mineral is the naturally inorganic solid substance having a specific chemical composition, formula, and atomic structure. Means any substance which satisfies these four conditions. First, it should be naturally and inorganic solid substance. Second one, it should have specific chemical composition and formula. And third one is it should have atomic structure, means it should have the atomic repetitive atomic structure or the crystal structure. So here is the diamond. Diamond is the naturally occurring, it is also inorganic and having a chemical composition carbon and atomic structure. This is the diamond cubic. The one carbon atom is bonded with four other carbon atoms, and another carbon atom is also bonded with four other carbon atoms. So this is the repetitive structure. After that, mineralogy. What is the mineralogy? Mineral means a substance which we have discussed, and the logy is derived from the word logos, which means the study. So the study of the minerals is known as the mineralogy. Mineralogy deals with the origin of the mineral, means where from this mineral is derived. Properties like the chemical, physical, optical, these are of the properties types. And what are properties like the luster, cleavage, fracture, streak, hardness? So these are all the properties. And the chemical composition. What is the chemical composition or the formula? So these are all parameters are discussed or studied in the mineralogy. Here are some common minerals are enlisted, including the quartz, apatite, calcite, magnetite, hematite, and the gypsum. Quartz, the chemical composition is SiO2, and in the crystal structure, this silicon atom is bonded with other two oxygen atoms, and so these are all the minerals which contains. These are all inorganic, naturally occurring chemical composition, and also have a repetitive atomic structures. So now, classification. There are various bases or methods on the basis of the minerals are classified. One of them is the anion part of the chemical composition or the formula. Based on the anion part, these minerals are classified into 8 main groups, including the oxides, sulphides, halides, carbonates, sulphates, phosphates, native minerals, and silicate minerals. These are 8 groups are based on the anion part of the formula are divided. One by one we are going to discuss. Oxide group. Minerals have the oxygen O2 as their anion part. मीन्स ऐसा कोई भी मिनरल जिसका जो एनाइन पार्ट है वो ऑक्सीजन का होना चाहिए, मीन्स O2 का होना चाहिए. तो ऐसे मिनरल को हम डिवाइड करेंगे किसके अंदर? ऑक्साइड ग्रुप के अंदर, या हमारा जो मिनरल होगा वो कहलाएगा ऑक्साइड मिनरल कहलाएगा. ठीक है. बट दे एक्सक्लूड those with oxygen complexes such as the carbonates, sulphates, silicates, and also the phosphates. So हमारा जो एनाइन पार्ट वो ओनली ऑक्सीजन का होना चाहिए, ना कि एक कंबाइंड फॉर्म या कंपाउंड में होना चाहिए, लाइक द कार्बोनेट CO3. So here also a O3 is the oxygen, but this is combined with the carbon, and in the sulfate this is also oxygen, but it's combined with the Okay, so only the oxygen O2 is the anion part. It will classified in the oxide groups. It includes the hematite, Fe2O3, corundum, quartz, so on. Second one is sulfide group. Sulfide group, the minerals with the S2 as their anion part. मीन्स उस फार्मूले का या उसकी जो केमिकल कंपोजिशन है या हमारा जो मिनरल है उसका जो एनाइन पार्ट है वो सल्फर होना चाहिए, मीन्स S2 का होना चाहिए. तो लाइक हेयर आर सम कॉमन मिनरल्स इंक्लूडिंग द पायराइट FeS2, बोर्नाइट Cu5FeS4, स्टिपनाइट Sb2S3, arsenopyrite FeAS, galena PbS, chalcopyrite and molybdenite. Means here is the sulfur is there anion part. Third one is halide groups. Halide groups are so named because the anions include the halogen elements. मीन्स हमारा जो मिनरल्स है उसका जो एनाइन पार्ट्स है उसके अंदर या वो जो एनाइन पार्ट है वो हमारा क्या होना चाहिए, हेलोजन एटम्स होना चाहिए, लाइक द क्लोरीन, ब्रोमीन, फ्लोरीन एंड आयोडीन, सो ऑन. सो जब हमारे मिनरल का जो एनाइन पार्ट हेलोजन एटम से बिलोंग्स करता होगा तो हम उसको डिवाइड करेंगे हेलाइट्स ग्रुप्स में. इसके कुछ एग्जांपल्स हैं इंक्लूडिंग द हेलाइट NaCl, means the sodium chloride which we use at home, and cryolite Na3Al, F2, F6, fluoride CaF2. So here is the anion part is chlorine, the fluorine, again is the fluorine. So these are called the halide minerals. उसके बाद carbonates groups. The carbonates includes the minerals in which the anion is CO3 complex. Okay, so the carbonate combines with plus 2 cations to form the minerals such as the calcite, magnesite, dolomite, siderite, nellachite, azurite. So these are all the minerals which have anion part as their CO3. Okay. Sulphates are the minerals with the anion part SO4. Okay. In all these minerals, the cations has a plus 2 charge, which balances the minus 2 charge on the sulfate ion. So the sulfate ions, the minerals having the sulfate ion are termed as the sulfate minerals. It includes the gypsum, CaSO4. So SO4 is the anion part, and barite PaSO4. Here again SO4 is the anion part, and the celestial the SrSO4, strontium sulfate. So okay, so जिसका anion part सल्फेट होगा तो हम उसको क्लासिफाई करेंगे एंड द ग्रुप ऑफ सल्फेट्स. उसके बाद फॉस्फेट ग्रुप. In phosphate minerals, the anion is PO4, means phosphate. Complex apatite, apatite is the most common minerals, the example of the phosphate group, Ca5PO43OH. Okay, which is what your teeth are made of. Note that it is called a phosphate, not a hydroxide, even though it has a hydroxyl ion. So as it contains hydroxyl ion, but instead of we have classified it into the phosphate group. Why? Because it contains phosphate as the predominant. That's why we have divided it into the phosphate group. After the native minerals. Native minerals means these minerals are the pure minerals, means are in single element minerals such as the gold, copper, graphite, diamond. These are in a single form or in a pure form, means they don't have any another complex or in a compound form. Silicates groups. Minerals include the elements silicon and oxygen in varying properties ranging from SiO2 to SiO4. Means in oxide groups we have discussed that it should have the anion part as their oxygen, O2, O4 or so on. But here in silicate minerals, both the silicon and oxygen both should be like the quartz SiO2. Here is O2 also anion part, but it also includes the Si silicon, so that's why it is classified in the silicate groups. Also the quartz can be classified in the oxides, because it also has oxygen as their anion part. First for NaAlSi3O8. Here is the silicon and oxygen both exist, so that's why it is classified as the silicate groups. And olivine MgFe2SiO4. So this is also the silicate element or minerals. Okay. After that, type of the silicate minerals. These silicate minerals are classified as being either ferromagnesian or non-ferromagnesian, depending on whether or not they have the iron or the magnesium in their formula. मीन्स हमारे जो सिलिकेट मिनरल्स है वो ज़्यादा क्वांटिटी में होते हैं, तो इसीलिए उनको दो टाइप्स में डिवाइड किया गया है, फेरोमैग्नीशियन सिलिकेट मिनरल्स और दूसरे नॉन फेरोमैग्नीशियन सिलिकेट मिनरल्स. अब इनको कैसे हम डिवाइड करते हैं? फेरोमैग्नीशियन जो सिलिकेट मिनरल हैं उनके अंदर हमारा जो क्वांटिटी है वो उसके अंदर फेरियम या मैग्नीशियम या दोनों होने चाहिए. तो लाइक द ओल्विन, द कंपोजिशन इज द MgFe2SiO4. Here magnesium as well as the ferrium. So this is the ferromagnesium. And on the other hand, the pelagioclase feldspar, CaAl2Si2O8. So this is a silicate mineral but not a ferromagnesian, because it does not contain the ferrium and or magnesium. So other examples including the pyrite, pyroxene, amphibole, biotite, garnet, serpentine, so on. And non-ferromagnesian including the quartz, orthoclase, muscovite. So okay, thank you very much guys for watching.